You Call, We Haul, Will Hall of Survivor Cambodia. This is a great episode. We can't wait to get to talking to you guys. Like always, I'm Saul, and you can find me at Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube here on at Perspective. With me today is Mark. Mark, where can people find you?
Um, First of all, I'm very happy to be back. What an episode to come back on. You can find me on Twitter and on YouTube at Marco Polo 310.
Awesome, great episode. What do you? Well, first of all, what are your thoughts as you're watching this episode?
My thoughts are this. That's about it. That's yep. That's 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 all I can say. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So excited.
Yeah, as far as everybody that I've been talking to and on social media, everyone was happy with this episode. Not everybody, but most of the people that I talked to were happy with this episode and
Well,
the outcome.
everybody but Savage is happy with this episode. I mean, let's face it.
Yeah. So let's get right to it. We'll go ahead and let's talk about some of the people in today's episode that really made an impact. Um, what did you think of Sierra's game this week?
Sierra's game, uh, it was a little touch and go, but I'm glad it turned out the way it did. Uh, yeah, because she was definitely making herself a target,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, she didn't really need to say it, but Joe was already a target, and her voicing it so much, it's just gonna get, people are gonna talk, and she's gonna make herself a target in Joe's eyes as well. So
Yeah, I do like that she went right away to Fishback, and knowing that he, well, I don't know if she knows specifically, but I think she can tell that he's not on the main bro alliance, that
nope.
how she calls it, um, and that he'd probably be the one that can flip over on Joe. She talks to him right away. She I like that. I like that she puts herself out there as far as her start strategy goes, but it might be too playing too hard. Like we said at the end of last tribal, and she even has to like apologize and explain herself during one of the reward challenges because she's trying not to ruffle feathers that she's already ruffled. Um,
But I mean, she's already on the bottom.
yeah,
There's only three of them, and there's nine of them at this point, and so anything goes because it's she basically has like 6 days left, up to 6 days left.
yeah, but let's keep it in mind. What if they decide, hey, let's get Sierra out instead of Wentworth, and then today's, I mean, that episode, that ending of that episode is just nine votes out to Sierra. So
Yeah,
I think she pulled back and she reined in her strategy talk, and I think that's the reason why they decided to go Wentworth. But we'll get to Wentworth in a little bit and towards the end. Fishback, how did you think Fishback did this week?
I still think he's just overthinking things, just a tiny bit, and it's. I mean, yeah, he's gonna feel a little bit of that loneliness out there, but he's got other stuff going for him right now in the game. So he shouldn't. He should just calm down.
Yeah, he still shows that he's very nervous about
Hmm.
making moves. Actually, he wants to make the move, but he is very tentative because not everybody's gonna be jumping in at to make the move.
Yeah.
And of course, he doesn't want to leave his main alliance because that's he needs the numbers.
Hmm.
Um, I know
I
he
mean,
was.
how far do you expect to go with a nine-person alliance, honestly?
Yeah. Well, it's
So
just like Sierra said. There's always going to be a top people in the alliance and the bottom people in the alliance, and I think Fishback knows already because Savage was already telling people before the game started that he was going to go after him. He already knows he's towards the bottom, and he was in
yeah,
the very beginning. He was the person that Savage wanted to get rid of right off the bat. And a couple of episodes we see how he's had already said that he wanted to get him out. And again, it starts off off the episode with Savage talking about getting him off the tribe and voting him out. So
yeah.
yeah, what did you think of him in the challenge, the reward challenge?
Who, Savage or Fishback?
Fishback.
I mean, it's Fishback. Let's.
We're still getting the an edit of him that
Yeah,
really is not the greatest.
I mean, we love the guy. It's just
Yeah.
physical challenges are not really his thing. So
Yeah, when we have where he almost had that reward, that puzzle, and of
yeah,
course, Jeff jumps on him right away. Fishback thought he had it. Did he say again or something? I don't know. He jumps on him for being wrong.
yeah,
Um, Not much more after that, I guess, other than just walking around and being nervous for Fishback this episode.
yeah.
Um,
But I mean that puzzle was interesting because we've seen that puzzle before, but this time it's in a much larger scale. It's with bigger and heavier boxes. And sometimes, even when they step back and try to look at the puzzle, it's not you don't see things as easily as when
yeah.
you have like this little thing in front of your face.
Do you remember the first time they did this challenge? I'm thinking it's when Ozzy was playing in the Redemption Island. I think South Pacific.
Something like that. I know that going out and getting puzzle pieces on the boat was from season one. That's what they said. But this
Yeah,
I don't think this puzzle showed up until like
South Pacific. I think.
late, yeah, like late teens, early 20s maybe.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think even in that one, they had to get through the gates with the keys to or something like
Yeah.
that to get the cubes. But the cubes were not. They were not that big. They were just hand size.
Yeah, they're hand size.
Yeah. So yeah. See who else we have here. We didn't really see too much of Wigglesworth other than in the challenges. Like always, we don't see much of her. Um, we didn't get it much of Kimmy this time around.
No.
What did you think about Joe? Joe, how did he play this week?
I thought it was interesting because when I think in the reward and when Kelly was trying to talk to them about strategy and things like that, Joe finally shows a little sign of thinking, like regarding strategy. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. At
Something
least
new.
somebody on the reward was reacting to something Kelly was saying. So
It's something new that we didn't see from him last time around because last time around it was just more just win, and
mhm.
we didn't really see him do any strategy. So I did like that he was talking more strategy this time around. I don't know if the best strategy for him was to decide to go right at Fishback, but because at the end he ended up just rolling over and saying okay no Fishback when once Jeremy and everybody decide to that's not the right move. I think his best move would have been to either stick to his guns and say we need to get Fishback out, or decide for him to decide who was going next. And I don't know, maybe he did decide. Maybe he is the one that pushed them to Wentworth. What do you think? Because we know they have some sort of alliance going on.
um, I think the push towards Wentworth is by Jeremy because Jeremy and Kelly hooked up very early in the game, and they both told each other they had an idol.
Wait, did they say tell each other that they had an idol?
Did they tell each other about the idols?
No,
No,
no, no, they didn't. No,
never mind.
no.
Um, yeah, but I think Jeremy might have just Jeremy might have been thinking that he can try to swing all the votes one way or the other and try to prevent a vote split and just try to bet on Kelly having an idol or knowing somebody who has an idol that is willing to give it to her.
Now, something surprising that I saw the second time I watched the episode, and I tweeted this to you, was the picture of when Joe was bringing in the crate at the reward challenge. There is something on that crate, that second crate, that looks like it could be an idol. Looks like some. We don't know what it is.
Hmm.
It was never talked about. When we don't know what it was. Some people were saying it was an idol, but as far as we know, no one located the clue to unlock the idol being hidden at the challenge.
Yeah, so that couldn't have been it.
Now, the only thing that I can think of is If it was an idol, I doubt it was an idol because it wasn't covered in cloth or it wasn't plain sight. This one was in plain
Yeah,
sight.
they
The,
would usually wrap it in a cloth along with a slip of paper that says, "Congratulations, you have found the idol." Blah 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 blah.
yeah, and this one was in plain sight. The only thing I can think of if it was an idol is that someone found the clue, unlocked the being hidden, but it didn't amount to anything, so they decided not to even show it. The second thing I can think of is that they're leaving little things out there that the contestant can pick up to make a fake idol. Um, and third thing is
But
just that it was just there's
I
something on the
mean,
crate.
did we see traces of other fake idol materials in previous challenges?
Not that I remember,
Yeah,
we weren't really looking, and we it wasn't until this one that we got a clear shot of something just
because
hanging out there.
I'm looking at the picture you sent me right now, and it's just that thing is just so suspicious looking.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
The only thing that I can other not the only thing because I already talked about three things, but another thing that I can think of is that the producers put it out there for someone to think it's an idol, in case say Jeremy or Wentworth talk to somebody and say, "Hey, I found this idol," or maybe they say we found an idol, but we found it out in the challenge, or
Hmm.
somebody saw them, so that they can mistakenly pick it up and think it's an idol, something like that. We don't know. We didn't get any explanation from it. This is all just speculation from what I've said, what I've tweeted out, or what I've seen on social media.
Hmm.
So it was all over on Facebook today on previously on Survivor.
Yeah.
So yeah, we pretty much that was pretty much Joe's episode. I do want to talk about Keith. I think Keith, even though he didn't have too much of a presence in the episode, he had a nice presence in the episode.
It was fun.
It
It
was it was
was,
a funny. I mean, he's a funny guy. He's
yeah.
usually in the background doing some funny things, but other than being the guy that jumps out in the reward challenge to get the crates and all, in the beginning part, he gets his little where in the reward challenge where he's driving around the his what he called it Toto.
A Toto.
Um,
It's usually called a tuk tuk.
yeah, but he called it a Toto. Yeah, I liked it. I liked the moment. At least he gets something in this episode.
Yeah.
He's not just there in the background, and of course he does really good at the challenge in the immunity challenge.
Hmm.
He gets really close to pulling it out, but he falls short a little there. We'll talk about the immunity challenge towards the end.
Hmm.
No Abby in this episode. Jeremy, we didn't really get too much of we didn't get to see Jeremy too much this time around, did we?
No, not until they're strategizing for the vote.
Hmm.
Because he knows that people are targeting Wentworth, and he was trying to skew it some other way, but I don't think he was able to do that much.
I liked his move to save Fishback because
Hmm.
I mean at that moment everybody was in on Fishback already,
Yeah.
and him and Spencer, and this is another thing with Spencer. Spencer, we didn't get too much of him this time around. Um, it was this moment where they're both talking to Savage and they're saying, "Hey, if we vote out Fishback, you might upset other people in the alliance." Which
Hmm.
really, I don't buy it because everybody in the core alliance was right there in the huddle, but they convince him that it's not the wisest move. Of course, for Jeremy and for Spencer, Fishback is a number to them because they are actually, like we said before, Spencer and Fishback are actually good friends in real life. And it wasn't
Yeah.
until this episode that we really see them talking, even though I'm pretty sure they've talked a lot during the game.
I mean, the only person that Fishback really poses a threat to is Joe.
Yeah,
And if you're not Joe, then Fishback is not a problem.
yeah, and especially since he's the same type of player that he lost to the first time around, as far as being what he considers the golden boy.
Yes.
He doesn't want to go with to the end with him. But he did say one thing. He did say is that he doesn't want to be the goat. Fishback does not want to be the goat. He wants to be in the driver's seat and does not want to be taken out by the Bro Lions.
The thing is, even if Steven goes to the end with Joe, I mean, Steven is more strategically active than Joe. I think people would be able to see that, and they would probably want to give the money to Steven instead of Joe.
The thing is that Steven doesn't want to risk it. He doesn't want to risk it at
True.
all. He'd rather take him out and then have his just I guess see what happens next after that.
We never knew how traumatic Tocantins was to Steven until we started watching him this season, and
Yeah,
it's a lot of old scars.
yeah, and the thing is that I like to say he was so close to winning because he was if he would have taken the right person, but he took the wrong person and he got shut out at the end. But if he would have taken who was it, Aaron, in that season, the final three.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, if he would have taken Aaron, I think he would have won. Might maybe not a shutout, but I think he would have won a close vote there.
Hmm.
So yeah, let's see here. We didn't talk. We just said we didn't really hear too much about from Tasha. Let's talk about the two main people around this time around. Let's talk about Wentworth. We didn't hear too much at the very beginning, but it wasn't until after the reward challenge, after Joe comes back and tells everybody that they're not gonna vote Fishback. She's able to deduce right away that she's in trouble.
Hmm.
We see that scene where they're at the beach and she's like, "It's me, right? It's me," and she's like what? She goes like whatever. And she goes and then it isn't. I don't know if you saw the secret scene from Jeremy, on CBS.com. He's actually talking about Wentworth and he's saying that she is the best person to vote for because she's the one that is least likely to have an idol. They've seen her walking around like she's been gonna get voted out for 3 4 days already,
Hmm.
and as far as anybody knows, she doesn't have an idol like I said. She's the one that they don't suspect to have an idol, and she's the easy one out right away without a problem. And what I have been saying is that she did a real good job in the previous Takeo and with the second version of Takeo when she threw Terry under the bus. So she made everybody believe that Terry had the idol, and when he was evacuated, that the idol went with him. So we have that, and of course we have that little after her boot, Shireen had said that she told everybody that Terry had the idol, so she had that going for her as well. So I think all that together just contributed to her not being the threat that she ended up being
Yeah.
at this point, in which we understand
Sneaky,
that she really is.
sneaky.
Yes, yes. Now, one thing that people brought up is in hindsight, who was it? In her season, who was it? Who was it? The one that wanted to vote her out. Do you remember his name?
Uh,
Drew.
Drew.
Drew. Yeah.
Drew Christie.
Drew Christie. Drew Christie out of nowhere. Remember, they hadn't lost an immunity challenge to that point,
Yeah.
and Drew Christie right away decides that he wants to get rid of Wentworth, and he says she's the most dangerous person out there. And at that point, we didn't get any edit saying that she was a dangerous person. But do you think that is this something that he saw in her, and that he was scared about her, and he was right, or do you think he was just being crazy?
Uh, uh, I mean, credit where credit is due. A very that was a very interesting call by Drew, and I don't think he foresaw what she was going to do this season when he said that.
Well, then remember, she's able to get it. She's able to get it, turn the tables on him, either way on that season.
Hmm.
So he even in that season, I think he already realized, oh, I messed with the wrong person.
Right.
So yeah, and Savage. What do you have to say about Savage?
Um,
It's one of those tough ones.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think he's that aware of what's happening in the game, and I think he had one strategy going in, and that was the same strategy that he went in his last game. And if that didn't work the first time, it wasn't gonna work the second time. So
The like I said at the beginning of when we first heard that he was going to be one of the people that had the opportunity to come back, I was all
mhm.
for it because I did want to see how he would change, how he would do now that we don't have that outcast coming back in. Which we don't
Mhm.
know. They might have still have brought him in if they decided to, but um, how he would have done if he would have stayed in the game. We always had that doubt,
Right.
but he played the same type of game. He was still playing old school. He was only being win with the people that he trusted and the people he considered to be strong. He didn't like Steven. He didn't. And the thing is that he says that he's upset that people are lying and so forth, but he was lying as well, and
Yeah.
scheming as well. So I
Yeah.
didn't like that. And of course, he was always moping around.
I at this, just after watching him for 8 episodes, for I mean, it's half the season already, and he hasn't really shown any sort of difference in his strategy from the last time he played, and I'm starting to regret voting for him, honestly. When I was voting for the top 10 for the guys, he was sharing a slot with Shane Powers, and I kind of regret it. I should have just left Savage out of the ballot and just had gone with Shane the whole time.
Yeah, he is one that I did vote for, and I really, really would have rather seen Shane out there.
Yeah, Shane
Um,
or Jim Rice,
yeah,
either or.
yeah. And the person that I didn't vote for, that I actually didn't have any troubles with, even though I didn't like him as much, was Wu. I would rather have Savage out there. I mean Wu out there than Savage, even though Wu didn't do much in his game either.
I mean,
Um,
I mean, even Max would have been a much better choice than
yeah,
Savage,
yeah.
honestly.
So yeah, let's talk about the actual immunity challenge because we talked about each one of these people's games and what we saw about from them. This was a challenge that was brought up in San Juan del Sur.
Hmm.
Can you explain that real quick what it is?
Basically, they have these two pieces of rope with a little round kind of platform attached to it, and then once you pull it taut, they put a ball on the little circly piece of wood, and you're supposed to balance the ball on top of the thing. And when your ball drops, you're out.
And what is it? Every 10 minutes they move back
They
um,
move back
further.
one
Yeah,
notch for yeah, on the ropes.
yeah, and we see right away. Well, we got to say Steven didn't drop out first.
No.
So at least he has that going for him. Wentworth is actually the first one to drop out, followed by Sierra, then Wigglesworth. Jeremy goes out, and Jeremy was actually the first one to drop out in his season, followed by Abby, Fishback, and then Savage drops out before the end of the first 10 minutes, and he actually gets upset and flips off the ball.
The balls.
Yeah, so we go to the second stage, which is a little bit further out, and in that one, Kimmy and Tasha drop out. Kimmy was actually struggling for a while, but she kept coming back to control the ball.
Yeah.
But she ended up losing, and at the end we're left with three people, which is Spencer, Keith, and Joe, and Spencer drops out once again, losing to Joe, and Keith and Joe are the last ones left, and then after the last 10 minutes, they said they're gonna go ahead and put two balls on that platform, and we get really really inappropriate Jeff comments.
Oh, those were still fun.
What is it? What are they called? The out of context Jeff moments.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was like Joe's balls are moving.
I,
Uh,
I, I think I think that the challenge people, the challenge department, just kind of designing these things just just so that Jeff would say these kind of things, and they're just so out there.
And we see Keith. Keith is doing real well. He's always doing. He always does really well with these challenges with the balls.
Hmm.
Like we said, Natalie, the winner of his season, was like he's the ball master.
Yeah,
Um,
he can handle his balls.
yeah. So Joe wins again. Of course, he wins again. Um,
Yeah, Joe wins, blah blah blah.
yeah. I mean,
Hashtag Joga, blah blah blah.
the yeah. So the man bun wins.
Yes.
Um, and it starts. Once again, we start seeing Savage gunning for Steven. This is what we talked
For
about
whatever
already.
reason.
Yeah. And Jeremy decides he's gonna help him out and gets him out of the way. And I do like one thing at this point of the game where Jeremy talking about why he doesn't want to get rid of Steven. He not only wants him to stay because he is part of a numbers and a part of alliance, but he says once the big guys start going at each other, I want to have all the bullets. And um, if we're looking for a winner's quote, that's one of the things that they put in there. You can look for a winner's quote,
Yeah.
which I think out of everybody here, Wentworth and Jeremy have the most winner moments, winner edits, winner quotes.
Yes.
Okay, so we go to Tribal Council. Anything surprise you in Tribal Council?
Uh, I think right now, pretty much we kind of knew it was between Sierra and Kelly, Wentworth.
Or yeah, because well, even though Abby is part of the bottom three, they didn't really mention her name as far as what we saw.
No, because you cannot really, you can never actually consider Abby to be any part of any number.
Yeah,
Even though right now she's kind of out of the main alliance, she's kind of her own little, she's kind of her own little island.
yeah. Now, I think Savage didn't go after her only because he still considers her as part of his number, a part of his alliance that he has on the side,
Hmm.
and which we know Abby has turned on every single alliance that she had so far in the game,
Yeah,
and really it's a tale of two halves of the season now, at least
yeah,
of this first half of the season for her. We had a heavy portion, beginning portion for Abby, and very quiet the last three episodes. Um, I'm not complaining, but
there's
actually,
there's much less room right now for her to do anything crazy, just
yeah,
because the numbers are so lopsided. It's she can't do anything.
yeah,
She's completely tied. So
I'm not complaining because I really don't like Abby when she's on the camera as much, but I really would rather have
yeah.
PJ out there rather than her. So
I mean, at this point, there's nothing she can do strategically
mhm.
that's gonna change anything up. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. So we get to, like I said, we're at tribal council already. Jeff is really trying to get information out of people. Um, Wentworth says that there is a main alliance, but she decides not to call it out, not to say who's pulling the strings. And I think this is a very smart move by her because, like
yeah,
she said, what if I need to work with these people later on, and if I call them out, they're not going to want to work with me. Even though everybody already knows who they are, still a smart move not making it public, even though it's known. And Sierra does the opposite. Sierra just like, what the hell, I'll just go ahead and say it. I'm here to win. I'm gonna try to sway people.
yeah.
So she
It's a little
points
bit of a
out,
Hail Mary, I think.
yeah, and she says it's Jeremy, Savage, Tasha, and Steven or Joe. She doesn't know which one of those two are the main four. And we go to the vote. At this point, what did you think? Who did you think was going home?
I would have thought they would have went after Sierra, honestly, just because she was a little more vocal about trying to get people than Kelly. Uh, After the immunity challenge.
I personally thought Fishback was going home. Um, Rachel had called it last week, that she thought that Fishback was going home, and it wasn't until the very right before Tribal Council when I saw Wentworth start saying, it's me, right?" And I starting to see her freak out. I'm like, she's like, I know she's gonna play her idol, and I thought they were gonna vote for Fishbach. And I even told my wife, and I was like, no, 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 no. I even tweeted, no, no. Um, and I was very surprised that they actually decided to write down Savage. Um, let's before we get to who voted out for Savage. I mean, we already know, but
Hmm.
we see we see Kelly really deciding if she's gonna use it or not. She's kind of like fidgeting. Is she gonna use it or not? Jeff is up there already, getting ready to announce the votes, and she's like, "Jeff, I may be at the bottom, but I'm not ready to leave just yet." And she pulls it out, and you see everybody freak out. Everybody's like, "What?"
Yeah.
You see the one you see really is Jeremy. You see Joe in the background. You see Savage, like, oh man. And
Mm.
then one by one, Wentworth, 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 Wentworth. And my wife actually said, "Goes, ooh, she played. She was clutch. She pulled it
Yeah.
out. She did it. 9 votes,
Nine
the
votes, which
most
is currently a record.
a record for the most votes that have been what is it nullified by the idol.
Hmm.
And as soon as you see that 10th vote come up, Savage,
And that was it. That
everybody.
was,
Savage
yeah.
is like, well, first of all, you see Cass. Cass is laughing. She's loving it. And you just see Savage just go down. I can't believe it. Of course, you know
Yeah.
how he who he's gone all the season. And Savage, the second vote. And we don't see the third vote, but we're pretty sure it's Savage by Abby Maria.
Yeah.
And Savage is out. Um, one thing that I can say, even though I don't like Abby, sometimes she does has her little moments.
Hmm.
And she said she talks to Savage as he's going out. At least she made it to the merge, and
Yeah.
he flips her. He flips her off.
Yeah, that was super unnecessary.
Yeah, and what did she say back? Right back at you.
Yeah.
That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Um, last
I mean,
words were
Abby is fun. I mean, she kind of milks these moments where she can just kind of get a word in, and you know, Savage took it super personal, and I don't blame him, but flipping her off was a little over the line.
yeah. Um,
Yeah,
Cass flipped someone off as well when she came in. Did she flip off Tasha? Is that who
I
she?
think she was aiming that at Tasha.
Yeah. Um, final thoughts for Savage. He
Um, Thanks for playing. Bye.
he
Hashtag FYAS.
he did. Even though I was already complaining that he was still in the game, he did give us this awesome moment, this awesome idol
Yes.
play. Um, do you think he's ever coming back for a third chance?
Oh no,
No, you
no,
don't think you
no.
don't think
They
people want him back?
no. They won't have him back. That I mean, he they try to show us that he was the one in control, but
No, he was really not.
no, no. He just thinks he's in
I
control.
think what 2 times that he thought he was in control, it crumbled under him.
He's trying way too much to have that control, but he doesn't really take other people's feelings into consideration, and I think that's his real major downfall with this season.
Voting this tribal council, do you think it's one of your top 10
Oh,
or
top five
top five?
at least. Yeah.
I
Oh,
still
I
think
loved every single second of it.
my favorite triple council is from a season that I didn't like as much. It was just Fiji was the first time that an idol is successfully used,
Hmm.
and they take out the alliance, the three guy alliance there, and I think that was my favorite moment still because it was rather new. The idol had not been played till then, and I still think that's my favorite moment just because of that. Because it was a brand new thing. Um, yeah, we're pretty much done with the episode. By any chance, did you see the Ponderosa scene with Savage?
Oh yes.
He's already regretting, or what was it?
He was dreading it before
Dreading.
going
There you
in.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes. I don't want to talk to Cass. I don't want to see her. But Cass shows a different side of her. She
Yeah.
used calm Cass. she's there with white wine, in which he says she remembers that I like white wine, and she says I'm not here to talk about the game. Let's just talk. Let's just talk between you and I. And they
Yeah.
actually become friends. They become buddies.
I mean, they do have to live with each other until the
2 weeks
game
at
ends.
least. Yeah.
I mean, she's trying very hard to just make him palatable.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, poor Cass. Poor Cass.
So I think they're gonna be a fun duo now. Now that he's out of the game, I don't think he's as bad as he is while he's playing
As,
the game.
as long as he's able to just calm the F down,
Yeah.
I will be okay in Ponderosa.
So yeah, that's an episode. That's the episode. It was awesome. I loved it. Can't wait for more. Can't wait for next
Next
week.
week's gonna be so
Yeah.
fun.
And every week we've been saying this is the favorite episode ever since. But
Yeah.
we'll see. So yeah, that's the episode. We'll go ahead and see you guys next week. Mark, where can we reach you at on social media?
You can find me on Twitter, yeah, Twitter and YouTube at Marco Polo 310. And you can also find our third member, Rachel, at Survivor Fan Rach.
Mhm.
Yep.
And that those will appear on the top here, for you to get the spelling as well as the description. You can find me at Perspective on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat now, and YouTube. And let us know what you guys know. Hashtag LC Survivor. Also, remember you can find all our videos at nerdfeed.com. And you can find the videos for every other person on the Let's Chat team. All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week, and we'll see you. I'll talk to you later, Mark.
All right. Got nothing for you. Get back to life.